slip it in until it gets to about here, and then I lock it in, crank it up, and then I'll leave the cover off the top. Now, because this is a edge card reader, if you try to put the tape in, it of course is hitting the card stop. So you got to lower the reed plate a little bit so you can slip the tape in, and then it will lock in. So I noticed when I was testing it before, it was catching on this thing. It was causing it to misprint. So what I'm going to do is hold it up.
The holes were catching on the
they just caught
rough
on the
edge of the
splinters,
plywood.
and then the tape wouldn't advance through the reader. So gonna make a little bit of noise now. Now it's shifting the basket, hitting every character, upper and lower case. I may not have put the paper in far enough and made off the printer a little bit. But I just made up a test tape with a couple of repetitive lines of the same Now if I wanted to make a new tape of the same material, I would turn the punch on, and then you'll hear the punch come on. I don't have any tape inserted in there right now. Make a little more noise. So basically, there's a aux code and a stop code. Stop code just tells the unit that I want the reader to stop. So that just punches a 1, 2, 4 code in the 8-channel configuration. Nominally, all the codes are odd numbers of holes. And in the punch itself, there was a device called a parity check. And if for some reason something caused the selector mechanism to not send the correct odd number of holes to the punch, it would lock up the machine.
I heard that was an option. Is that on this machine?
I believe it is.
Oh, that's not a good thing though, is it?
Well, it's going to tell you that it punched a code that wasn't legitimate.
Oh, okay.
And then we had also aux code and punch address. Punch address does nothing more than add the number 8 channel, which is normally just the carriage return code. But if you add the 8 channel bit to all these other codes, it would create an address code. This mainly was used with the auxiliary reader. They had an automatic function where maybe in a loop tape on the aux reader, you had a series of separate selections. So if you wanted customer A information, you could tell it search the tape in the reader at a high speed mode. It wouldn't be at the read speed of 575 characters. It would go at 3 times, say, in order to scan through the tape and find the sequence that is appropriate to what the edge card told it to search for. Let's say I wanted information A. It would say search for sequence A on the tape. Find it and print out from that auxiliary reader selection A. Then the next edge card for customer B wanted information B, so it would go in and tell it to automatically search for an address code with the number 8-bit added to it for sequence B. So that was the early days of programming.
How do you clear a parity check code?
Well, first of all, you should try to figure out what caused it. It could be as simple as 2 type bars colliding. If a piece of paper from
So that would just stop the machine, and if
it locks the keyboard.
If it's corrected, but how do you unlock the keyboards?
Well, basically you say, oh, I know what caused it. A piece of paper fell in the type segment. Take out the paper, click back, 1 click, and then you hit the tape feed code. Tape feed is channels 1 through 7. So now you'll have a 1 through 8 code if the number 8-bit was added to it, or any other code besides the carriage return. A delete code is all channels.
Wow.
So that erased it. Now you could type in and punch the correct code after it. When it reads that delete code, it'll just say, oh, I don't recognize it, keep going. So, basically, I thought, well, if you're not using cards, I'll take this off. But then I thought, what if you wanted to use a card? So I left it the way it should be originally, just so you know. Just take the table and move it down a little bit so you can slip the tape underneath.